Residents in Barangay Muzon, Taytay, Rizal struggle to cope as water shortage enters its 7th day. The Department of Agriculture proposes alternative water sources to address the depleting water supply in Metro Manila. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority is eyeing to remove all bus terminals along EDSA by June. No window hours policy to be enforced in Metro Manila. And Europe to ban plastic cutleries, plates, and cups by 2021. Good evening. Residents in Barangay Muzon, Taytay, Rizal complain as they have been experiencing over a week of no water supply. Mirasol Abogadil tells us why.
Although Manila Water has stated they have brought back water supply to 97% of their customers, residents in Muzon, Taytay, Rizal still lack water. Despite the water concessionaire's efforts to make water rations through trucks that carry water, more problems are arising.
Ang problema lang, hinaharang ng mga tao mismo. Kung haharangin po nila at inaaway po kami, pati ang Manila Water po ay inaaway din po. No?
Pero member din naman kami ng Manila Water. Kung sino malakas yun ang paano kami doon sa dulo, wala na. Di na kami nadadatnan ng tubig.
Because of this, some residents resort to fetching water from a nearby well. Although unsure of the safety of the water from the well, they use it for washing clothes, bathing, and even for drinking. Some even pay just to have someone carry their pails and water containers because the area is upland.
Yung budget sira. Imbes na pang bili na lang ng ulam, pagkain, ibabayad pa namin para buhatin yung tubig namin.
Some residents pay 5 to 120 pesos to have their water container carried to their houses. Barangay Captain Frank Luster Santos said they could only do as much to address the issue.
Ano po natin ginawa ay pinakalat po natin information na mawawalan po talaga tayo ng tubig. So may mga oras po lamang na sila ay magsusupply ng water at yun po yung mga oras na dapat mag-ipon tayo.
Mirasol Abogadil, UNTV, News and Rescue.
Meanwhile, in a text message to UNTV, Manila Water spokesperson Jeric Sevilla says the reason why Barangay Muzon is still experiencing lack of water supply is because the area is located at the highest portion. Sevilla says they are expecting the water supply to improve in the next few days after they have finished the line booster and a pipe laying, which is set to be completed tomorrow, March 29. More population means more demand for water, but the Agriculture Secretary sees hope for another source of water in Metro Manila. Ray Palayo explains why.
By the year 2037, water concessionaire Maynilad will be needing an additional water requirement of about 1 billion liters per day in Metro Manila. Based on Maynilad's business plan, 1 million customers will be added to the current 9.6 million customers by the end of the concession agreement 18 years from now. But the current population in Metro Manila is already exhausting the full capacity of water resources like Angat Dam, especially during the dry season. On the other hand, Manila Water has 6.8 million customers, but the company refuses to provide UNTV News a copy of its projection. To address the issue on water supply, Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol proposes other major dams to be used as water source for Metro Manila, such as the Pantabangan Dam. Located in Nueva Ecija, the Pantabangan Dam provides water for local irrigation and hydroelectric power to Manila to south. Secretary Piñol argued that there are dams used for agricultural purposes, but the peak of demand is seasonal. He adds that if the government installed more solar-powered irrigation system, farmers would no longer be dependent solely on the dams.
Yung tubig ng malalaking dams yan, pwedeng i-divert sa Metro Manila during the times na hindi namin kailangan sa palayan.
Meanwhile, a UNTV News source said that the feasibility study for Kong Dadong Dam in Pampanga to provide water to the National Capital Region has just been finished, but discussions should only be done with the proponents. Kong Dadong Dam, a source of water for farms in the provinces of Pampanga and Nueva Ecija, was completed in 2003. Its distance to Quezon City is around 70 kilometers compared with Angat Dam, which is 50 kilometers. And to connect Kongdadong Dam to Metro Manila, there is a need to install long pipes, the National Water Resources Board said. Ray Pilayo, UNTV, News and Rescue, Quezon City.
The implementation of the no window hours policy will soon be enforced not just in EDSA and other major roads but also in other cities. Meanwhile, the MMDA will begin next month the removal of provincial bus terminals in Metro Manila. Joan Nano tells us why.
To address the worsening traffic problem in Metro Manila, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA is set to impose various traffic schemes. One of this is the enforcement of the no window hours policy, not just on EDSA and other major roads, but also within cities in Metro Manila. This was after the Metro Manila Council or MMC approved the uniformed implementation of no window hours to avoid confusion among motorists. This means the number coding scheme is effective from 7 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock in the evening from Mondays to Fridays. The MMDA clarifies, however, that localities which do not impose the number coding scheme are not covered by the no window hours policy. These are Navotas, Pateros, Marikina, Taguig, and Muntinlupa. However, the uniformed implementation of the no window hours policy cannot be imposed for now as there are processes to go through before each city can amend their traffic ordinances.
Kasi di ba may lumabas na per city, may mga window, pagtawid mo may window na naman, nagkakagulo, no? Nagagalit ang tao, nalilito. No? That's why we requested na baka pwede standard na tayo, wala nang may window.
Meanwhile, the MMDA will also start next month the removal of provincial bus terminals in Metro Manila. All provincial bus terminals will be transferred to Valenzuela and Santa Rosa Laguna Integrated Terminals as well as in Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange or PITX.
It's about time na talagang isasara na natin yan, ano, yung mga provincial bus terminals na yan. That's why I requested, we requested sa mga LGUs, ang LTFRB kasi mag-iikot na rin, no? Na ika-cancel na lang yung mga business permits. No? Ang target date natin dyan by June. Wala na lahat yan. No? Not only EDSA but the whole Metro Manila.
Terminals located on EDSA will be the first to be closed. The LTFRB has been tasked to work on the franchises of city buses that will transport passengers from interim terminals going to Metro Manila. But some passengers are against this move. One of them is Lilian de la Cruz, who travels to Muñoz, Nueva Ecija. From her house in Apolonio Samson in Quezon City, she spends 24 pesos just to get to Cubao to get a provincial bus ride. But if the terminal will be transferred to Valenzuela, she will have to spend 30 pesos just to get there.
Ito na nga lang po, sa Cubao nga lang po, malayo na, hirapan na kami, doon pa kaya. Napakalayo naman po masyado.
Once provincial bus terminals on EDSA have been closed, provincial buses will be allowed to load and unload their passengers only at the interim terminals. From the Valenzuela Interim Terminal, city buses will have to exit the NLEX Balintawak then proceed in EDSA. But coming from the Santa Rosa Interim Terminal, city buses will have to take the South Luzon Expressway then exit to Alabang in Muntinlupa. The MMDA is set to conduct a dry run before the actual transfer of provincial buses to the interim terminals, targeted to happen in June. As of now, the UNTV News is still waiting for a reaction from the Provincial Bus Operators Association for their side of the issue. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue, Quezon City.
Will the removal of provincial bus terminals in EDSA distress passengers? Let's find out from this report from Monokson.
UNTV News team was able to take footage of this bus blocking other motorists on EDSA just to get to the service road. A colleague also captured a video of the same thing, buses blocking other motorists on EDSA. Such buses have been a cause of the never-ending problem on traffic in the main thoroughfare in Metro Manila. The plan to limit buses on EDSA has long been a discussion, and many proposals are being studied. The Metropolitan Manila Development Authority or MMDA is determined to shut down all provincial bus terminals located in EDSA in a bid to ease heavy traffic commuters complain of. But motorists have different views on the MMDA's decision.
Bas dito kasi nakaka-traffic sila kasi kung isang minuto silang palabas sila, minsan may nakaharang pa dyan. Magka-traffic talaga, kahit 1 minuto, hahaba siya.
Talagang matraffic, yung kaya ang magiging solusyon, mapapalayo ang mga pasahero.
Jaime and Dolores Mateo always take a bus in EDSA when going to the province. For them, it is favorable to transfer provincial bus terminals to another area for the sake of traffic decongestion.
Kung problema talaga yung traffic, talagang gano'n ang gawin natin. Kahit na malayo man lang, talagang para naman mapaganda yung kwan natin, service.
James also agrees, but the government must provide better transportation going to the new location, he said.
Okay lang ako ma-hassle. Basta bigyan mo ako ng ipapalit ko doon sa pagka-hassle ko. Willing naman ako magbayad.
This coming June, all buses traveling to North Luzon will have to use the Valenzuela terminal, while those going south will use the Santa Rosa terminal and the Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange or PITX. Here in Valenzuela, the MMDA is preparing for the influx of passengers. The terminal is yet not fully finished, but the agency will do all they can for the terminal to be operational by June. The waiting area for provincial bus passengers is fully air-conditioned, while city bus passengers' waiting area is located at the lower level. A ticketing system will be in place for convenient ticket purchasing. Comfort rooms are also being finished for passengers to use. The MMDA said passengers with heavy baggage need not worry.
Actually, eto city bus to ha. Kita nyo naman ang laki-laki ng compartment. So, hindi sila dapat mangamba dahil kung galing siya ng provincial, may dala silang bagahe, ikakarga nila rito, sasakay sila ng city, papunta sa loob ng Maynila. So, hindi sila dapat mag-alala.
Meanwhile, MMDA, the Land Transportation Office, and the Land Transportation Franchising and Regulatory Board are preparing new routes for public transport so that the riding public can enter Metro Manila seamlessly. Mon Hocson, UNTV News and Rescue, Valenzuela City.
The European Parliament has voted to ban plastic consumer items as of 2021. Here's Jovic Ramas to tell us why.
Single-use plastic items such as straws, forks and knives, as well as cotton buds will be banned in the European Union by 2021 following a vote by EU lawmakers on Wednesday. Growing concerns about plastic pollution in oceans and stories of dead whales with plastic in their stomachs, together with China's decision to stop processing waste, have pushed the EU to take more drastic steps to tackle the issue. The European Parliament voted by a large majority of 560 to 35 in favor of banning 10 single-use plastics, including plates, balloon sticks, food and beverage containers made of expanded polystyrene, and all products made of oxo-degradable plastic. EU countries can choose their own methods of reducing the use of single-use plastics, such as take-out containers and cups for beverages through alternative sources. In Brussels, when Damian Hamelreich decided to open a snack restaurant in January, he decided to use as little plastic as possible, part of his concept to avoid waste, including recycling old materials for the decoration and using only products when they're in season. For the takeaway cutlery and food containers, he works with PLA, a biodegradable plastic made either of corn or sugar cane, but he says the cost is high and reduces his margin.
PLA, polylactic acid, is more expensive than plastic. It depends, but for a fork, for example, made with PLA, it's around 3 or 4 times the price of a plastic fork. So yes, it has a cost. It's just that I decided to make less profit to have a smaller impact on the environment. Simply because I think we have a responsibility and we have to make an effort for the planet and for other people.
Based on a report every year, Europeans generate 25 million tons of plastic waste, but less than 30% is collected for recycling. More than 80% of marine litter is plastic. Jovic Bermas, UNTV News and Rescue, Europe.
A veggie supplier in Thailand whose produce is sold in Brimping Supermarket in Chiang Mai has taken a small step towards curbing the use of single-use plastic. Kat Dumaraos tells us why.
Thailand is looking to ban the use of single-use plastic bags in 2022, according to plans drafted by the country's Pollution Control Department. It is among the top 5 Asian countries, alongside China, Indonesia, Vietnam, and the Philippines, responsible for more than half of the 8 million metric tons of plastic waste dumped into the world's oceans annually. That is why retail stores and businesses in Thailand have made efforts to curb the excessive use of throwaway plastic. Just like Veggie First, a brand of vegetable supplier which sell various kinds of vegetables at Rimping Supermarket in Chiang Mai. Veggie First intend to reduce plastic for wrapping all vegetables, so they start small by using banana leaf wrap. Netizens commend this measure and hope that more stores will follow this little step in curbing the use of single-use plastic. Prime Minister Prayut Chan-o-cha has become the poster boy for a campaign to raise public awareness about plastic waste and encourage a switch to bags made of cloth or other reusables. Just last year, retailers and store operators nationwide signed an agreement with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Environment not to provide single-use plastic bags to shoppers on the 4th of each month to coincide with Thai Environment Day on December 4 of every year. Kat Dumaraos, UNTV News and Rescue, Bangkok, Thailand.
Welcome back to Y News. We pick up from where Rina Villamor Camara left off. I'm Angelo Castro III, and here are the headlines. 3 NPA rebels killed during an attack on Northern Samar Police Station. Local bets set to hit the campaign trail as campaign period for the May 13 midterm polls officially starts tomorrow. Senator Panfilo Lacson questioned the timing and motive behind former Senior Superintendent Eduardo Asierto's accusation against Michael Yang. President Rodrigo Duterte wishes for a prosperous and progressive Philippines as he celebrates his 74th birthday. And the Philippines bags medals at the 2019 World Junior Bowling Championships in Paris. The Philippine National Police leadership directs all PNP personnel to be vigilant at all times. Meanwhile, 3 new People's Army members were killed and another got arrested during an attack in a police station in Northern Samar this morning. Joanano will tell us why.
Philippine National Police or PNP Chief directs all personnel in police stations across the country to always be vigilant as the peace talks with the Communist Party of the Philippines, National People's Army or CPP-NPA, have been terminated recently by President Rodrigo Duterte. This after approximately 50 members of the new People's Army or NPA attacked the Victoria Municipal Police Station in Northern Samar at 3:30 a.m. today.
Si Police General Oscar David Albayalde ay nag-warning na kaagad sa lahat nating mga regional offices, provincial offices, municipal police stations ang kanilang paghahanda sa anumang mga posibleng mangyari na ilulunsad ng mga communist terrorists dahil nga bumagsak na yung pag-uusap sa national level.
The PNP High Command meanwhile commends the members of the Victoria Municipal Police Station for having successfully defended their post and repulsed a communist terrorist attack. PNP spokesperson Police Colonel Bernard Banak reported that 15 PNP personnel on duty led by Police Lieutenant Eladio G. Alo were able to defend the police station and put up a firefight which lasted for almost 3 hours. The NPA arrived in the town on a forward truck. Some of them were dressed in military fatigues with a yellow ribbon on their heads, Banak said.
Naramdaman nila na yung paparating na forward truck na may lulan na maraming tao ay naramdaman nila na isang pag-atake ito. Kaya agad silang pumunta sa kanilang defensive position at naghanda sila na kung sa anumang pangyayari.
The police were able to seize 1 unit of caliber 60 light machine gun, 2 units of M16 rifles, and 1 unit of M14 rifle from the communist terrorist. 3 NPA members died and 1 was arrested during the attack. Police Regional Office 8 has directed its mobile forces to intensify the pursuit operations against those escaping suspects, which include women. Banak added Police Senior Master Sergeant Artuno Gordo and Police Master Sergeant Arnold Kabakang were wounded during the firefight. Joan Nano, UNTV News and Rescue.
Former Philippine National Police Chief Senator Panfilo Lacson expresses doubts on Eduardo Asierto's drug matrix. However, the senator urges concerned government agencies to formally launch an investigation into the allegations of the former police colonel. Nel Marie Buhok will tell us why.
Senator Panfilo Lacson has expressed doubts in the motives of former police colonel Eduardo Asierto in his sudden appearance and the release of his own drug matrix. Senator Lacson, a former Philippine National Police Chief, said the accusations of Asierto is based on information when President Duterte was still the mayor of Davao City.
What took you so long between 2004 na mayor pa si Presidente Duterte na ni sa imagination wala naman mag-iisip na magiging presidente, ba't hindi mo pinurso noon kung ganyang malakihan yan?
The senator also said that when Asierto visited him in his office, he did not give any details of his intel report. Lacson believes Asierto just wants assistance amid the Blue Ribbon Committee probe on the multi-billion pesos shabu discovered inside the magnetic lifters in Cavite last year. The senator is puzzled why Asierto did not get the chance to divulge the drug matrix during the Senate hearing on the illegal drug shipment. Despite this, he believes authorities should investigate into Asierto's allegations.
Dahil nagsalita na rin yung PDEA Director General, well, it should be, I would like to think na dapat gawing formal kung magkaroon man ng closure yung accusation na ginawa ni Asierto.
According to Lacson, during his stint as PNP chief, he did not know Asierto personally. Meanwhile, Senator Laila de Lima calls to publicize the so-called intelligence report of former Police Colonel Eduardo Asierto that involved personalities who have roles allegedly in the illegal drug trade in the country. His report includes Michael Yan, a former economic advisor of the Duterte administration. According to the lady senator, if this could be verified, this will raise questions as to President Duterte's real involvement in the drug trade. Nel Maribuho, UNTV News and Rescue, Pasay City.
President Rodrigo Duterte told Chinese Minister of the International Department of the Communist Party of the Philippines, Song Tao, that the Duterte administration has no hand in the complaint filed before the International Criminal Court or ICC against Chinese President Xi Jinping over the South China Sea dispute. The Chinese minister paid a courtesy call to the president in Davao City yesterday. The chief executive said the Philippines is a democratic country and cannot stop people from filing cases. It can be noted that former Foreign Affairs Secretary Alberto Del Rosario and former Ombudsman Conchita Carpio Morales filed a communication against Chinese President Xi for the alleged plans of China to control the South China Sea, which, according to them, constitutes crimes against humanity. The two former officials are also against China's aggressive construction of artificial islands in the South China Sea, which causes environmental damage. Meanwhile, President Duterte thanked Chinese Minister Song for the good trade relation between China and the Philippines and for China's continued support for the Build, Build, Build program of his administration. The campaign period for candidates running for local positions will begin tomorrow. The Commission on Elections once again reminds local bets to abide by the rules of campaigning. Aiko Miguel tells us why.
During inspection in different areas, most of the campaign posters in violation of the election rules belong to local candidates. This is why the Commission on Elections or COMELEC and its local offices will intensify their monitoring in communities. Candidates running in local positions such as members of House of Representatives and provincial, city and municipal officials are set to campaign beginning March 29 and until May 11, 2019. As the poll body remind candidates of the election rules, they expect that candidates have already begun taking down their campaign posters, which are over 2 by 3 feet and not placed in common poster areas. Based on the Omnibus Election Code, the said candidates may face an election offense when they violate the COMELEC rules while the campaign period is ongoing.
Ibaba na yung mga posters na naikabit na nila. Bagaman hindi natin hinaharang o sinisita yung kanilang mga premature campaign materials, pagpasok ng March 29, yan ay magiging illegal na material na maliban na lamang doon sa mga nakapaskil doon sa mga common poster areas at sa mga private property kung saan nakakuha sila ng pahintulot ng property owner.
COMELEC also reminds official candidates they are not allowed to campaign on April 18 and April 19 during the long holiday. Like national candidates, senatorial and party list groups, local candidates are allowed to spend only 3 pesos per voter for candidates with political parties and 5 pesos per voter for independent candidates. COMELEC also reminds local candidates to maintain the cleanliness and orderliness in areas where they will hold their sorties. Candidates should also follow city ordinances which prohibit littering and using single-use plastics like tarpaulins.
To keep the campaigns clean, and by clean I mean literally clean. No? Ang problema sa mga campaign sorties ay nag-iiwan yan ng maraming basura, mga bote ng tubig, mga lalagyan ng mga lunch packs nila, mga supot, mga plastic, and these add a considerable load to the trash already inundating the city.
Jimenez even said the public may report violations to COMELEC offices and post violations on the poll body's social media accounts. The poll body also said it is the candidate's responsibility to conduct a peaceful campaign and avoid creating noise pollution in communities.
Most importantly, be considerate of the communities where you are campaigning. A lot of candidates often start campaigning in the wee hours of the morning, and that causes a lot of discomfort and stress to the communities where they are campaigning. It is a risk that these candidates take, that they will not alienate voters this way.
Aiko Miguel, UNTV News and Rescue, Manila.
The Philippine National Police is on heightened alert status as the campaign period for local candidates in the May 2019 elections begins. The PNP leadership also reminds all policemen to remain apolitical. Leah Ilagan will tell us why.
Philippine National Police spokesperson Police Colonel Bernard Banac said today that PNP personnel nationwide are on alert, especially in areas placed under grave concern or red category and under COMELEC control. This as the whole PNP force prepare for the start of the local campaign period for the 2019 midterm elections tomorrow, March 29. For this, the PNP is placed on heightened alert status. The police appeal to all candidates to obey the law and the Commission on Elections rule of to avoid violence. According to Banac, political rivalries among local candidates are more extreme than among national candidates.
Inaasahan natin na magiging mainit ang pagiging kampanya sa lokal na level. Subalit ang PNP ay nakahanda po na tumugon sa lahat ng pangangailangan at anumang insidente na maaaring mangyari.
Nevertheless, Banac added, the police are prepared for any violent incidents that might occur.
Kung mayroong mang sumiklab na karahasan sa mga, lalo na doon sa mga red category, areas of grave concern, nakahanda po ang buong PNP at ng kagapay natin dyan ng AFP na rumisponde sa anumang pangyayari.
Leah Ilagan, UNTV News and Rescue, Camp Crame.
President Rodrigo Duterte wishes for a prosperous Philippines on his 74th birthday. Rosalie Cos tells us why.
President Rodrigo Duterte has no wish for himself as he turns 74 years old today, but he has a big wish for the country.
My wish was that this government will prosper, and I wish you all happiness.
President Duterte was born on March 28, 1945 in Maasin, Leyte. On his special day today, he chose to be with his family in Davao City. The president has said even before he does not want to have grand birthday celebrations but wants to sleep instead on his birthday and be with his children and grandchildren. The president's eldest son, Paulo Pulong Duterte, greeted his father and thanked him for the time he spends with the family despite his hectic schedule. Pulong said he assures his dad they are there for him and that he and his sister, Davao City Mayor Inday Sara, will take care of those who pretend to know more or those who attack the president. Even the chief executive's office staff in Davao City greeted him last night. Meanwhile, Malacanang and the cabinet members also greeted President Duterte on his birthday. In his statement, presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo greeted the president with prayers for a good health and sound mind and for him to finish his goals for the country. Cabinet Secretary Carlo Nograles meanwhile stated President Duterte's cabinet reaffirms their commitment to deliver the president's wishes. Rosa Licoz, UNTV, News and Rescue, Malacanang.
The Philippine team that represented the country in the World Junior Bowling Championships in Paris brings home honor. Piching Vizcara Garin will tell us why.
Noel Nuevo and Grace Gela claimed bronze medals at the 2019 World Junior Bowling Championships held in France from March 16 to 24. Grace compiled an average of 229 in 6 games that won her a bronze in the girls' singles event. While Noel took a bronze in the championship round of the girls' masters event, Coach Biboy Rivera is proud of the pair's achievements, which he said can promote bowling as a sport among the youth and raise a new blood of bowlers.
And with the help of Philippine Bowling Federation, meron na kaming bagong program on paano namin ibabalik ang glory days ng Philippine bowling.
16-year-old Norel shared her achievement comes with lots of physical and mental trainings.
With my bronze medal na achievement, sobrang blessed po talaga to get this medal kasi hindi ko nga po expected kasi first world ko nga po and I'm very happy na nabiyayaan po ako ni Lord.
Norel and Grace and other members of the Philippine team will head for the Asian Youth Championship in Malaysia in a bid for gold medals for the country. Piching Vizcara Garin, UNTV News and Rescue, Paris, France.
The Georgia Aquarium in the USA has new babies to care for round the clock. Abby Valdez will tell us why.
Meet Mara and Gibson. Stranded on the California coast earlier this year, both pups were rescued and later deemed non-releasable by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service. Now the otter pups has found a new home at Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, Georgia, United States. Both recently flew to Atlanta on a private jet that had been cooled to 60 to 65 degrees, their preferred thermostat setting. According to Georgia Aquarium, the baby otters will stay behind the scenes while they acclimate to their new home. Mara is eating fish and swimming on her own, while the younger Gibson is still being bottle fed, the aquarium reports. The Georgia Aquarium was chosen as a new home for the pups for its ability to provide 24-hour care. Abby Valdez, UNTV News and Rescue.
And to complete the most significant news for the day, Y News continues. Here are the top stories. The Department of Agriculture, or DA, is proposing alternative water sources to address the depleting water supply in Metro Manila. According to Agriculture Secretary Manny Piñol, Metro Manila can get water supply from other dams in Luzon that are used mainly for irrigation aside from the Angat, Ipo, and La Mesa water reservoirs. An example the Secretary noted is the Pantabangan Dam in Nueva Ecija. Piñol argued that farmlands do not need irrigation whole year-round. Therefore, water supply in these dams can be utilized to augment the water requirement in Metro Manila.
Yung tubig ng malalaking dams yan, pwedeng i-divert sa Metro Manila during the times na hindi namin kailangan sa palayan.
The official stressed, however, that a thorough study and planning should be undertaken before the proposal is implemented. The secretary argued that if additional solar irrigation systems were built in Central Luzon, water reserves from these alternative dams could be utilized for Metro Manila's domestic use. Earlier this month, Metro Manila suffered a water crisis due to the depletion of water reserves in La Mesa Dam. Meanwhile, the Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, or MMDA, will begin next month the removal of provincial bus terminals in Metro Manila. All provincial bus terminals will be transferred to Valenzuela and Santa Rosa, Laguna integrated terminals, as well as in Parañaque Integrated Terminal Exchange, or PITX. Terminals located on EDSA will be the first to be closed. The LTFRB has been tasked to work on the franchises of city buses that will transport passengers from interim terminals going to Metro Manila.
It's about time na talagang isasara na natin yan, yung mga provincial bus terminals na yan. That's why I requested, we requested sa mga LGUs, ang LTFRB kasi mag-iikot na rin, na ika-cancel na lang yung mga business permits. Ang target date natin dyan by June, wala na lahat yan. Not only EDSA but the whole Metro Manila.
In other news, 15 police officers on duty led by Victoria Municipal Office Police Station Chief Lieutenant Eladio G. Alo successfully defended their position early this morning when approximately 50 members of the New People's Army, or NPA, attacked them in northern Samar at 3:30 a.m. today. According to Philippine National Police spokesperson Police Colonel Bernard Banak, the firefight lasted for about 3 hours. 3 NPA members died and 1 was arrested during the attack. The police were able to seize 1 unit of caliber 60 light machine gun, 2 units of M16 rifles, and 1 unit of M14 rifle from the communist terrorists. Police Regional Office 8 has directed its mobile forces to intensify the pursuit operations against those escaping suspects, which include women. The PNP leadership reminds all cops across the country to always stay vigilant.
Police General Oscar David Albayalde ay nag-warning na kaagad sa lahat nating mga regional offices, provincial offices, municipal police stations, ang kanilang paghahanda sa anumang mga posibleng mangyari na ilulunsad ng mga communist terrorists dahil nga bumagsak na yung pag-uusap sa national level.
Senator Panfilo Lacson believes the government should pursue the investigation on claims made by former policeman Eduardo Asierto implicating President Rodrigo Duterte's former economic advisor Michael Yang in illegal drugs. Lacson said Asierto's accusations should be verified, especially because it involves the highest office in the government. Senator Lacson also questions the timing and motive of Asierto's release of his own drug matrix. Asierto, a former member of the Philippine National Police Drug Enforcement Group, tagged Chinese trader Yang and a certain Alan Lim to the illegal drug trade.
Dahil nagsalita na rin yung PDEA Director General, well, it should be, I would like to think na dapat gawing formal kung magkaroon man ng closure yung accusation na ginawa ni Asierto.
The Commission on Election, or COMELEC, reminds local candidates to maintain the cleanliness and orderliness in areas where they will hold their sorties. Candidates should also follow city ordinances which prohibit littering and using single-use plastics like tarpaulins. The campaign period for candidates running in local positions such as members of the House of Representatives, and provincial, city, and municipal officials is from March 29 to May 11, 2019. COMELEC spokesperson Director James Jimenez said the public may report violations to COMELEC offices and post violations on the poll body's social media accounts.
Keep the campaigns clean. And by clean, I mean literally clean. Ang problema sa mga campaign sorties ay nag-iiwan yan ng maraming basura, mga bote ng tubig, mga lalagyan ng mga lunch packs nila, mga supot, mga plastic, and these add a considerable load to the trash already inundating the city.
The Commission on Elections, or COMELEC, reminds local candidates to maintain the cleanliness and orderliness in areas where they will hold their sorties. Candidates should also follow city ordinances which prohibit littering and single-use plastics like tarpaulins. The campaign period for candidates running in local positions as members of the House of Representatives and provincial, city, and municipal officials is from March 29 to May 11, 2019. COMELEC spokesperson James Jimenez said the public may report violations to COMELEC offices and post violations on the poll body's social media accounts. And for the news abroad, here's Kath Dumaraos live from Bangkok, Thailand. Good evening, Kath.
Good evening, William. Prime Minister Narendra Modi said India had shut down a satellite in space on Wednesday with an anti-satellite missile, hailing the test as a major breakthrough in its space program. He made the announcement in a television address to the nation and said India would only be the fourth country to have used such an anti-satellite weapon after the United States, Russia, and China. Modi went on to assure the global community that its new ability was not against anyone, but rather as a defensive initiative of a fast-moving India, while stressing that India has always been against the space arms race. Acting U.S. Defense Secretary Patrick Shanahan said the U.S. was still studying the Indian test, but he warned that debris from such tests can harm civilian and military satellite operations and collide with other objects in space. A New York suburb has banned children not vaccinated against missiles from public spaces such as schools and shopping malls. Leah Panganiban will tell us why.
Rockland County declared a state of emergency on Tuesday and said it would ban unvaccinated children from public spaces. The Rockland announcement follows measles outbreaks in California, Illinois, Texas, and Washington, and is part of a global resurgence of the viral infection, according to the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Effective at the stroke of midnight tonight, March 27th, anyone who is under 18 years of age and is unvaccinated against the measles will be barred from public places until the declaration expires in 30 days or until they receive at least their first shot of MMR.
There have been 153 confirmed cases of measles in Rockland County, about 18 kilometers north of Manhattan, mostly among children who have not been vaccinated. According to the ban, unvaccinated children will not be permitted in locations such as places of worship, schools, and shopping malls. Outdoor spaces like playgrounds are excluded from the ban. People medically unable to get vaccinated are exempt. The outbreak began when a traveler visited Israel and returned to a predominantly ultra-Orthodox Jewish neighborhood of Rockland County. The disease has spread mostly among school-aged children whose parents declined to get them vaccinated, citing reasons such as philosophical or religious beliefs or concerns the MMR vaccine could cause autism, authorities said.
This type of response is unacceptable and frankly irresponsible. It endangers the health and well-being of others and displays a shocking lack of responsibility and concern for others in our community. Parents will be held accountable if they are found to be in violation of the state of emergency, and the focus of this effort is on the parents of these children. We are urging them, once again, now with the authority of law, to get your children vaccinated.
Officials say the measles outbreaks offer a lesson about the importance of maintaining a minimum 95% herd level of immunization against dangerous preventable diseases such as measles. Rates as low as 60% were found in parts of New York where measles spread, State Health Commissioner Howard Zucker said in February. Leah Panganiban, UNTV News and Rescue.
British Prime Minister Theresa May offered to step aside to break a deadlock over her unpopular plan to leave the European Union. Jovic Burmas will tell us why.
In a last-ditch effort to try to persuade rebels on her Conservative Party to back her, British Prime Minister Theresa May said she would stand down if her divorce plan finally got through a bitterly divided parliament. The beleaguered Prime Minister, whose authority has been shattered by the double rejection of her deal and the humiliation of a delay to Brexit Day, made the offer to Tory backbenchers at a packed meeting in Parliament. It came as MPs held backbench-led indicative votes on 8 alternative Brexit options, including no deal, a referendum, a customs union, and a Norway-style deal, none of which secured a majority. Many of the conservative rebels who want a cleaner break from the EU than May's deal would deliver had made it clear that they would only consider supporting her agreement if she gave a firm commitment and date for her resignation. May, a vicar's daughter, had already promised to step down before the next election due in 2022. By agreeing to go sooner, she increases the chances of her EU deal passing before the new April 12 deadline. The government is now expected to bring the deal back to Parliament for a third vote on Friday, March 29. While May was telling her lawmakers of her intention to quit in a Parliament committee room, MPs in the main chamber debated 8 Brexit options, ranging from leaving abruptly with no deal to revoking the divorce papers or holding a new referendum. The United Kingdom was originally due to leave the EU on the 29th of March, but the EU granted an extension to the divorce date until the 12th of April. Jovic Burmas, UNTV News and Rescue, London, United Kingdom.
Facebook has said it will block praise, support, and representation of white nationalism and separatism on Facebook and Instagram from next week. The social media giant also pledged to improve its ability to identify and block material from terrorist groups. Facebook users searching and offending terms will be directed to a charity which combats far-right extremism. The social network has come under pressure after a man live-streamed an attack on 2 mosques in New Zealand. And those are the news from the other parts of the globe. Back to you, William.
Thank you very much, Kath Dumaraos, reporting live from Bangkok, Thailand. Israel lays claim to the longest salt cave in the world, beating an Iranian record. Nina Armilio will tell us why.
Israeli researchers reveal a discovery of the world's longest salt cave. Malam is one of the 150 caves in Mount Sodom at the southern part of the Dead Sea that are made of pure salt. It's been known to Western travelers since the end of the 19th century. The 10-kilometer underground network of chambers and passages was mapped out over 2 years by spelunkers from 9 countries, led by the Hebrew University of Jerusalem.
Special thing about this cave is that from the last week we discovered that this is the longest salt cave in the world. Double digits, more than 10 kilometers, more than 10,000 meters of a salt cave. It's a very unique cave by that perimeter.
The highlight of the cave are the thousands of salt stalactites. Boaz Langford, head of the 2019 Malam Cave Mapping Expedition, said the discovery was not a cakewalk.
In the first time you enter a cave, you see if you like it or not, if you get nervous or you feel comfortable. But in the same time, caving is not a sport or not a field of a single man job. It's always with a group, so it's very important to be with friends, with good people. And especially in a project like that you work day after day in very tough conditions, so it have to be with nice people that you like.
Malam has taken a 13-year record held by the Cave of the Three Nudes, a 16,850-meter long salt cave in Iran, the researchers said. Sluiced by rain runoff that dissolves its surfaces, Malam will lengthen further over time, explorers added. Researchers say the cave lies near the desert site where, according to the Bible, Lot's wife was turned into a pillar of salt. Nina Armilio, UNTV, News and Rescue.
And those are the reasons behind the news this March 28, 2019. On behalf of Rina Villamor Camara and Angelo Castro III, I am William Theo. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. We will recap with today's significant sound bites. Because we need to know, we will always ask why. Good evening.
Pero member din naman kami ng Manila Water. Kung sino malakas yun ang maano, paano kami doon sa dulo, wala na. Di na kami nadadatnan ng tubig.
yung tubig ng malalaking dams dyan, pwedeng i-divert sa Metro Manila during the times na hindi namin kailangan sa palayan.
It's about time na talagang isasara na natin yan, yung mga provincial bus terminals na yan. That's why I requested, we requested sa mga LGUs, ang LTFRB kasi mag-iikot na rin, na ika-cancel na lang yung mga business permits. Ang target date natin dyan by June, wala na lahat yan. Not only EDSA but the whole Metro Manila.
To keep the campaigns clean. And by clean, I mean literally clean. Ang problema sa mga campaign sorties ay nag-iiwan yan ng maraming basura, mga bote ng tubig, mga lalagyan ng mga lunch packs nila, mga supot, mga plastic, and these add a considerable load to the trash already inundating the city.
What took you so long between 2004 na mayor pa si Presidente Duterte na ni sa imagination wala naman mag-iisip na magiging presidente, ba't hindi mo pinurso noon kung ganyan malakihan yan?
My wish that this government will prosper, and I wish you all happiness.